again, if you want to add anything here, you can, on those graphs, you can here and click find add securities. You can add one fund. Yeah, I would like to compare it to this. You can add a mutual fund. You can add an index. Go into Canada indexes. I say I want to have the S&P TSX 60. I will choose the TSX 60 total return in Canadian. So I say add. I say okay. Okay. And now I have, the S&P is here. So now I have the S&P amongst all the things and even my portfolio. And now it's there. I can go into the risk reward and see the S&P there as a security. It is here, number 10. So the S&P is just here. If I go into the correlation, the correlation, I can have the S&P, but I cannot have the portfolios in the correlation. On the rolling returns, I cannot have the portfolio on the rolling returns, but I can have the S&P. But you see, every time I bring a security, I have it for all the reports. And you can see here, it is written, find all securities. If I go in the correlation matrix, find securities, okay? If you go on risk reward, you see find securities, and you see find portfolios and custom benchmarks. So that's where you know, when you see that, that's when you know that you can bring a portfolio, just the portfolio, onto the graph. Investment growth, you see the same thing, find portfolio. Total annual return, that does not support the portfolio. Total annual return, I have shown it in the past to you. We see it as a calendar year. If you have too many stocks over 1 year, it's not bad. Over 3 years, it's okay, but it's a lot of information. It's a bit better if you generate a report. It's not something we use a lot. It is there, but we don't use it a lot. The premium discount here is for the ETF. We don't use them. This one here, it's not the best invention of Morningstar. They have done great things. This one here, it's not a great invention because I look at it and I find it very difficult to find. I find it difficult to find value in those type of things. Even if I go and generate the report, it's a bit more confusing than anything. You can see the top quartile of the category of the fund, and you can see the fund, you can see the index, the average, the Morningstar balance where it is. Of course, it isn't like in the middle. I will dare to say, don't waste your time on this one. You're better off going into the mutual fund reports. The different one that we saw, this is not the best thing they have made. The ownership zone is not bad if you stay it that way. If you say highlight, if you say the centroid and that, if you go there, forget about it, okay? You will not understand anything. So this way, that can show you that all those mutual funds right now are all in the same type of businesses. So it's all balanced fund, but you can see by the numbers and all the cluster that they are all into the same type of companies. If I think that all those funds are almost the same, I will be slightly tempted to take this one that is a little bit more through the value, and this one that is a little bit more in the growth and giant, because they are the most opposed as far as what they are owning in their portfolio. But that's it. So again, this is not bad. It goes hand in hand with the correlation matrix. The correlation matrix gives you a correlation of rate of returns. This is give you a kind of a correlation of what they have in their portfolio. This one is interesting. I haven't seen that very, very often. It's interesting. I don't know if it can help you very much, but it's interesting. So that's why I'm leaving that there. You cannot have portfolio, but let's say you look at let's say this one. You can see the effect. So if you began 5 years ago, you see the quarterly earnings of the fund, and you see that those are the histogram. You see the plus and minus in green. But on top of that, you see the cumulative effect. So let's say at the beginning, at the end of the second quarter in 2014, then we have a plus that gives us here, just in the middle of the screen, an excess of 4.3, and then a 3.95, and then a 5, and then, so you can see the consecutive quarters in which we have plus, 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 that gave us a total return of 44% compared to here where we were at minus 10. And then we see that minus 9.89 that gave, we go just back here, and then you see 4 quarters of losses, and then 2, and so it gives us an idea. But it's interesting, it's data, but I don't think it helps to make a decision, and I don't think it can be brought into a meeting. The one that can be brought, the three graphics that can be brought into a meeting is investment growth. That's the obvious one. The risk reward, to understand the risk return and stuff like that, and the matrix when people are a little bit a mess in there. So those are the 3 that you should always have into your meeting. So here you go. It's the end of the graphic section. Next thing we'll know is we'll look is the hypotheticals. Yeah.